Thank you, everyone. Blessed evening to all of you. Can everyone hear me clearly? Am I audible?
Om Shanti.
Okay, thank you. So, a blessed good
Om
evening.
Shanti, Sister Sherry. Can you hear me?
Yes, I'm here.
Welcome. All right, welcome to everyone once again. I think you can able to hear me now. I don't know if you can see me. Can you?
No, I'm not seeing
No.
you. Hearing me.
Okay. Transit. Right, let's do this. Okay, now better? Yes, we can see. All right, good. So today we have few people who's joining us in person and many of you joining us online. And even on this rainy day, it's nice to see you've taken the time and the courage to come. As we say, it was a cloudy day, and the topic is what clouds the mind? How can I overcome whatever that is clouding the mind, the influences of the mind? And how can I overcome the influences on my mind? Okay, so for that, we have Sister Sherry. If Brother Kaushik can spotlight Sister Sherry. Yeah, we have Sister Sherry joining us online. She's not a stranger. She has been giving her insights on many insight sessions. She's an educator by profession and has been practicing Raj Yoga for almost 2-3 years or more, Sister Sherry?
Years, actually 3.
All right, okay. So a little toddler now. But you can see what it has done in just this short span of time, how she has able to learn it, use it, experience it, and also share it with everyone. So we really enjoy you churning on it and making it easy for everyone. Yeah, so thank you. And I hand over our mic to Sister Sherry. Please take us on a journey, the influences of the mind and how we can overcome. Welcome.
Thank you, Sister Kimberly. Thank you for that warm introduction. I would like to take the opportunity again to welcome each and every one of you. I must say that I'm always happy to be here in this space of wellness, in this space of learning and sharing, because knowledge is not something that you keep to yourself. It won't benefit you if you do not share. And also, when I share, I learn. As Sister Kinney would have stated that I've been sharing on the Monday Insight session for quite a while now, and I would have benefited a lot from the interaction. This space here is so welcoming to see that persons would have taken out section, irrespective of the distraction outside. You could have been doing something else. I would always be. So I would like to take this opportunity to just start the session with a little experiment. So I would like to share my screen. So can everyone see my screen?
Yes, Sister Sherry. It's an interesting one.
Yes. So
Yes.
I have here a picture in it. I would like you to take a moment and observe it. And just keep in mind the first image that comes to your mind. When you look at it for the first time, what comes to your mind? What are you seeing?
A frog?
A frog. Okay.
I
And
don't,
what?
unfortunately, see frogs. No,
Pardon me?
I don't like them.
Has a phobia with the frog. I see a horse.
Oh, yeah, I do see a
Okay.
horse. I get that.
Stay with the horse.
Okay, so some of you, anyone else would like to share what they would have seen, the first image that comes to mind? Do you see anything else in that image?
Water?
Water. Okay. All right. So I guess by now, many of you would have seen either or, except for one sister who said water. But I guess the majority of you would have seen either a frog or a horse. And nothing wrong, Sister Yulin, with you seeing water. I also see some trees in the background, right? And for me, when I looked at the image the first time, I saw a frog leaping off of a tree stump, like leaping in the air to go somewhere. There's the first image that comes to my mind. And there's the first interpretation that I got. So it could either be a frog, it could be a horse, it could be, you could see trees, you could see water. Where is this coming from? Where is this coming from? When you look at the image, you have to do some interpretation. Isn't that so? When you look at it, before you pronounce on what you saw,
Can you repeat the question? Where is
yeah,
it coming from? Well, like I just said, have a phobia of frogs. So even pick,
okay. Okay, you have a phobia of frogs. So the first thing you saw was that.
pardon?
So that's why that's the first image you saw.
Yeah.
Okay. So where is it
Yeah,
coming from? It's
for
coming
me,
from a phobia. Uh-huh.
yeah, so it's coming from some kind of programming, some kind of socialization, some kind of thing that is within the psyche, and it connects with the psyche because of some experience that we had.
Yes. So I think by now we would agree that it's being internalized, isn't that so? It's coming from within. It's being internalized. I think we lost the Brahma Kumari stage. Let us see something. The person who was sharing just now. Yes, I know.
Yes, I was saying that for me, it comes from a kind of programming experiences that we had, something that is latched in our mind and connects with us when we see the visual picture.
Yes. So we must agree that it comes from within. It's being internalized. It's coming from the mind. So when you look at the picture there, it has to be internalized and then projected onto you. What I want to emphasize is that it is not the other way around. It's not the images influencing how you see it, but you are influencing how you see and perceive the images. And also, you would agree that you're the one who is influencing how this image appears to you. So when you look at it, can we definitely say that it is a frog only? Can we definitely say it's a horse? What is the truth about this image? Is there any truth about it? What is the truth about this image? Can we narrow it down to one single thing?
It is difficult because persons will have a different outlook. Persons will have a different opinion. Persons would see it different. So, and everybody will argue that their opinion is the truth.
Yes. Okay, so anyone else would like to share on that? So can both perspectives exist at the same time?
I think so, because typically it's like um, in religion, we view things differently across many spectrums. And the good thing is that we are able to talk about it. We are able to coexist. We are able to, but for some of us, be open-minded enough to take a deep dive into studying on or pursuing truth ultimately.
Yes. So what I want to say is that it's our individual perception, it's how we see it. The truth is our truth on an individual level. It's our respective truth. So that is being projected back at us. So when we internalize this image, we see what the mind interpreted to be. So this simple experiment here, it kind of emphasize, right? It emphasizes the fact that sometimes what we see may not always be so. Sometimes reality is kind of shifted and thwarted and is displayed in such a way that we have distortion. But it all begins in the mind, how we interpret it. It's based on conditioning, as one person said that they have a phobia to frogs. So immediately, that's gonna jump out to you. For those of us who might be nervous around snakes, you might see a belt in the darkness on the ground and we will jump because it looked like a snake. You understand? So what happens is that our inner state is determined by what the mind perceives how the world around us are, right? How the world around us is and how things affects us, right? So the topic tonight is influences that cloud the mind, developing spiritual strength to overcome illusions. And in my opinion, I could safely say that, this is an illusion. This picture here is illusionary, and it kind of it doesn't speak to one thing. There's more than one interpretation based on how we see things individually. So I'll take this opportunity now to go into the topic. I'll stop sharing the screen for now. Yes. So for those of you who are, what am I saying? You might not have been a Raja Yoga student. Maybe you are now starting the course. I don't know the status. But for those of you who are on this journey, you will know that and even if you're not, I think persons are familiar with the term Maya. So in Brahma Kumari's teaching, they talk about Maya, and Maya is an illusion, is a distortion, right? So instead of saying Maya, you could say illusion, or you could say false, something that is not the truth, something that is distorted and given that false perception. So in our day-to-day life, we are affected by various illusions. They come at us even by ourselves in our own mind. These illusions affect us in our day-to-day life, at the workplace, in our home. And, it causes, in some cases, misunderstanding. And how can we overcome that? So the whole thing about it is that the reality is constant. Who you are as an individual is also constant. And when I say individual, I'm not just talking about as a human, but I'm talking about that being within you, that soul aspect, that is constant. And many times you find that if we do not recognize that, okay, I'm a soul, and understand that we are all souls, and we don't have that awareness, we find that the illusion will consume us and cause distortion. So reality remains the same, but our interpretation of it is what changes. So because of this illusion, we sometimes misunderstand other person, misinterpret their intentions. Because of this illusion, we react based on past experience. You had a bad experience with somebody, and because of that, it affects how you interact with other persons. It also causes us to see or look through ego lens. And also it causes attachment. It causes sorrow and grief and all of that. So this illusion, when we look at the picture, that's just on a material aspect, but now we want to go to the spiritual aspect of it in terms of how we perceive things, how it affects us, and it affects persons around us. So originally, all of us, irrespective of your status or how you might think of yourself, each and every one of us is a soul having a human experience, playing these roles. But over time, the soul, it loses that originality. Because when you come into this world as a child, you come in innocent, pure, playful, you don't have any blemish really. So you're coming in pure, you're peaceful, you're joyful, and you have more clarity as a child because you don't have no kind of body conscious awareness. That's why you find children run around in playing in the rain. They don't realize that, look, oh, I'm naked or anything. They don't have that consciousness, and they're happy bouncing around doing their thing, right? So over time, though, the mind becomes influenced by some factors. One, which is body consciousness. We also have past impressions, emotional hurt. We also have external situations as well as wounds that we may not recall that would have happened to us maybe as a child or as an adult, and it's just very deeply within our subconscious mind, and we might want to know why it is some things affect us like this. So, is there anyone who would like to make any contribution as it relates to this whole illusion? Have you ever been misunderstood by someone and later realized that you were the one who was wrong? Anybody ever had that experience? And if so, what caused it?
I can't think of a specific example, but I will say that I struggle sometimes with disillusion in the sense that sometimes, and this isn't a really, this is a mild example, but sometimes I can go through my day or at work, things like that, and feel like other people's energy that may be a little more intense, or if they feeling like things are about me when they're not about me, if that makes sense. So feeling if someone's tense because of their own situation, sometimes I won't say anything about it, but I can just feel that and feel like it's about me and it has nothing to do with me. That's their own lived experience. And that's what they're going through. And I have to really try to separate myself mentally from that. Or if it's somebody that I am actually close with, or a friend, and they're going through a really hard time, sometimes I can be a little hyper empathetic, I would say. So that's something I've been navigating, and I think it's maybe something that no one pours that much energy into other than myself.
I'm trying to
I understand
take
exactly what you're saying,
my memory
Chris.
back, but what I do know is that sometimes because of what is happening in our heads, so a group of persons might be laughing and coincidentally we pass around at the same time, and because something happened sometime back, we think that those persons are mocking us, and it might not necessarily be so. But because we are going through something, we had a bad experience, we feel as if those persons are mocking us, they're laughing at us, and we feel bad, and we tend to respond in a negative way.
Yes, indeed. And brother, you won't believe it. That example that you give is an example that came to my mind. Because it happens so often as we go about our daily chores, our daily business, persons might burst out laughing and we would think that they're laughing at us. I felt like that already. And the reason why I felt like that is because at that time I had a low self-esteem. So because I had this low self-esteem, you find that I was easily distracted about what is going on outside. I didn't have that confidence and that self-respect within me to understand that, look, nobody could laugh at me. I'm a soul, I'm an individual, and I have my true nature is peace. And that is just two examples there that kind of resonate with me. Anyone else would like to share? And as you can see, it's all coming from within. How we see it, how we interpret it. Anyone else had an experience similar or would like to share? What was the distortion? What caused you to react a certain way? Oh,
I want to say, I think, like in general, we as a people, we have the tendency of creating those illusions. Example, we may be looking at an incident or the news, and we didn't get all the information, and we decide upon ourselves that maybe this is what really took place, and then we run with that. So I really want to feel that is something that we created or we vested upon ourselves, that we can make meanings to something even though we don't have all the facts, and just believe it. Some of us really believe it, and some of us just, just take it at that point, and maybe until they get the other information regarding whatever it is that they saw. And it also can come back to your experience in the past. So you really felt that the incident had something to do similar to what you would have experienced, and it may not be so. But that's just how we are as humans, tendency to have the mind tell us those patterns. That's just how I'm thinking it.
Thanks for sharing. Thanks for sharing that.
I like the comments that I am hearing, and I am thinking about something that I read a while ago, and it talked about not being judgmental. And I think it is important for us not to be judgmental, and to have an open mind. And listening to you earlier, you said that when we came into the world as toddlers, we came into the world innocent, and as we evolve, that innocence changed. So we start to take sides, and we start to adopt a different posture mentally. So we become critical of things, we become judgmental, and we perceive things in a certain way different to when we were not contaminated, so to speak.
Yes. Indeed.
Oh, yeah, on all of those are great points. I feel that I'm also speaking from a place of less feeling as though I've been like, maybe they're not past experiences, but maybe a bit of paranoia as I move into like my career, my work, things like that. Just feeling as though I'm an overthinker. I have a lot of thoughts like that. I go through my day thinking of how I am perceived far too much, and I think that's why I come back here, is because though it's only my second time, I feel the need to recenter and go, okay, actually, not everyone is perceiving you, thinking about you, trying to, not everyone, it's not really I'm tiptoeing around people or walking on eggshells thinking that they're judging me very harshly. It's just I need to recenter and not think of what everyone else around me may be considering. And realistically, I go about my day pretty well. I function pretty well socially and things like that. It's the presence that I'm missing at times, the presence and the recentering of just what I'm doing and focusing more on that I feel like I get distracted there. I'm not sure if it's following the same line of logic.
Yes. It's pretty clear. And you mentioned something about triggers, right? With my experience, as a child growing up and as a teenager, especially as a child, it didn't bother me so much. But when I got into my teens, I was affected by, um, I used to have eczema. So in that time, we didn't have all this mosquito with pellants and all that. I didn't think I have a mosquito net. So whenever mosquito would bite me, when they bite me, my skin would get real irritated and it would have this eczema mark. I was self-conscious about it. So you find that I was very much introverted and never really socialized a lot. So even after that, I overcome that situation, the eczema clear up, I was still affected about by it in a psychological way. So, and that led to this low self-esteem. But after being on this journey, even before, as I mature and, as time go by, even more now, I develop this spiritual maturity to the extent where things don't affect me like before. And I'm so happy and grateful about that. I want to share my experience in the workplace with a colleague a few days back, right? Sometimes in the workplace, you would do things and persons do not agree with you. It's okay. Everybody will not agree with you. It's not natural for persons to agree with you 100%. So the colleague would have reached out to me and respond harshly in our school's WhatsApp group. And other teachers, they were saying that, Miss, this is not nice, this is very insulting and all of that. And for a brief moment, the ego kicked in and I picked up the phone and I was sending a recording. And right away, I stopped. I said, no. I said, don't get caught up in a back and forth in a WhatsApp group with a colleague. Instead, I thought about it and I sent a heart. My reaction was a heart under the comment, and everything stopped right there. Nothing didn't escalate and prolong, and I felt good about what I did because I saved myself from losing my self-respect. It's not about him. The person who would have responded to me is about me and what I know is right. And sometimes people react because they have so much emotional turmoil that sometimes they lash out. It's not about the other person. It's just they're going through their thing and they just find it as an avenue. And if we look at it from that perspective, a lot of conflict we won't have, right? So anyone else would like to share their perspective on that? In terms of the illusions of the mind and the distortion it creates. So I would have said before that there are some factors that cause this distortion, this illusion, this cloud. And one of it, I think one of the main factor, this is my opinion, is body consciousness. And you might ask yourself, what is body consciousness? So body consciousness is where we identify with the body alone. We identify with the body. We identify with the roles of the body. We hold on to the fact that what gender we are. I'm a male or I'm a female. We hold on to status in terms of, okay, I'm a teacher, I'm a nurse, I'm a doctor, and so on, and all these titles that is attached to the body, we get caught up. And when we look at individuals, we don't look at them with soul conscious eyes. We look at the physical, we look at their roles and also the gender, the status and all of that. And this body consciousness, I think is one of the greatest factor that creates illusion, believing that you're better than someone because of maybe your educational level, or also you could have a low self-esteem and think that other persons are better than you. So it cut both ways, right? So the mind becomes clouded when we stop seeing people as equal, and we see external differences. So really and truly, reality gets replaced by labels and by the ego and pride and inferiority and all of that. So I think that when we look at each other and we just see the labels, that causes distortion. But if we look at each other with soul conscious eyes, we will see each and every one as brothers and sisters, just living this life and playing our part in the holistic scheme of things. Everybody is valuable. Everybody has a role to play. And coming back to the incident with a colleague, it could have gone a different way. But when I sat quietly and I reflect on the situation, I realized that I got an opportunity to see where I am spiritually in terms of my spiritual maturity and growth. So before being on this journey as a Raja Yoga student, the ego would have been inflated and I would have responded harshly and tried to win, because with illusions like that is that you feel compelled that I must win. I must be the one to come out on top. But instead, I took a backseat and everything was liquidated. So body consciousness, I think, is one of the major factors. We look at persons, we feel that they don't like us or they have something against us. So that is a distortion based on, as I said before, other factors, right? Emotional challenges and an encounter with people, right? Each of us here would have had some experience or the other where we felt discriminated against. But when you are spiritually enlightened and you're spiritually mature, it will not really have an effect. It will just be like a passing experience. So the next factor that cause and effect, but before I go to that, I would like to give an example. Let us say, for example, right? Someone could become upset if you don't address them properly. I have had that experience where I was talking to a colleague who is senior to me, and the individual said, Miss, I'll give you my number so you could contact me in the future. So we had a meeting. She said, Miss, I'll leave my number with you. So when I was typing the number in my phone, this wasn't our first meeting. I was typing the number in my phone and I just gonna call a name to say, so I saved her as Miss Johnson. Let's just say that's not the person's real name. So I saved it as Miss Johnson. So I was like, oh, I said, I have you here, Miss Johnson. She said, yes, Dr. Johnson. I said, okay. You understand, right? So she was very much, into her role. The word doctor had to come in front of the name, which for me, I know it's doctor, yes, I know that that's the portfolio, but I didn't think to put it, and it wasn't my intention to offend her. So that's just one example, right? And if you notice my response, I just laugh and I said, oh yes, doctor, right? I wasn't offended, so I am a person, as much as possible, I go with the flow, right? So the next experience is past, the next factor, is past experience. And those past experience, sometimes we refer to them as sanskars, which is not something I want to go into detail, but because that is not the topic. But our sanskars is like impressions or habits that we develop over time based on our thinking and interpretation of things. So, for example, emotional wounds or memories, bad experience, that is stored in the mind from time to time. It surfaces, it resurfaces, and cause us to see or look through this distorted lens, you know? So, for example, if someone hurt us, we may assume that others will hurt us as well. I've known of persons who they were in a relationship with someone and they had a bad experience, and after that, they were so hurt that they never trust anyone else again. That's just one example, you know, what the illusion, you know, the magnitude of it, right? So we stop responding to positivity and we pull ourselves in a shell and we feel that the world is against us. And I don't know if you pick up by now, everything has to do with what is happening inside of us. It all starts from within. I could remember, I don't really go to movies, but I went to watch this movie with my son. The name of the movie is Inside Out. Nice children movie and so on. But as an adult, when I looked at it, the theme is that this individual, this teenager, you understand, by some, due to certain distortion, all our emotions become personalized and eventually they come alive and they come outside of our. So you had the emotion anger one side, you had fear one side, you had jealousy and all of that. And they were all out there reflecting back at her. So the movie Inside Out is showing us, even though it's a simple cartoon movie, that what affects us outside is really coming from within and how we perceive things. So all these emotions she had, they came out and they become personalized and they start reflecting back at her until she decided to take a handle of things and made that decision that, okay, I choose love. I choose positivity. And all the other characters disappear. And she was able to manage those emotions without them getting out of hand and coming out. It's just a cartoon, but we can relate to it, right? The emotions come from within. All these feelings, the anger, the hatred, the jealousy, everything comes from within, right? So if you were betrayed by someone, it doesn't mean that you cannot trust anyone else. That's just an illusion. That's just a perception. That's just one experience with one person, right? We also have external situations that we would claim as external or influence of others. Peer pressure is one. Our teenagers today, they're going through a lot and they want to fit in. They want to be accepted. They want to be loved. And you find that even though they will be shown this appreciation within the home, some of them still look outside and be, feel that, okay, they could only be somebody if other persons like them. So, for example, one of the things that affect us there at the school I'm working at is vaping. That is very popular. And most of the times you find that they just do it because to fit in with a certain group and to be accepted. So when we allow situations to control us, it forms that illusion within our mind. So I would like to pause there. I don't want to be talking all the time. So anyone would like to add to that? If you like to add, we talk about body consciousness, we talk about emotional trauma or past experiences.
I I like the fact that you shared on some very important issues, and as you shared, I recall my previous relationship. Um, I had some challenges, and I recall I met a good gentleman by the name of Dr. Ethan Simon. And he said to me, he said, well, he basically was teaching, he was teaching leadership, but he brought in some very important things that align with spirituality. And he said, you look beyond persons. Persons might do things, but you don't look at the person. You look beyond the person because there's something that would drive that person to do what they did. And he said, you've got to be able to see beyond a person. And you just mentioned it. Look at persons from the soul perspective. So I'm connecting the dots. And I recall I had the challenge with my ex-wife, and it was easy for me to commit murder, so to speak. I would not have been here because I went to a hotel and I saw her with another guy. Long story short, because I had that kind of a conversation with that gentleman, I was able to respond in a positive way. So when I saw her, I smiled and I said, do you want us to reconcile the relationship or not? And she was in a more deranged state than me because she turned to me and she started to use expletives. And I'm like, I'm not here for a war. I just want to know if you want to reconcile the relationship or not. And she could not have answered. Then she asked me, give her some time and she's gonna get herself together. And I give her some time. By the time I was processing and I was recalling some of the things that Dr. Simon said to me. So I was trying to get her in a frame of mind because I know that she is not her real self. And that is something in relationships that we need to pay attention to, because when people behave in a certain way, they're not in their real senses. So I knew that she liked Malta, Smalta. So I went to the shop. I said, you're gonna have a Smalta? I'm saying that to her. She said, no, I don't need anything. I understand that too, because when you are in those circumstances, it's difficult. Your stomach started to overproduce enzymes and you're in a mass of confusion. But I still knew that I had to get her to that stage whereby she unwinds and comes back to her right senses. So I said to her, I said, relax, we're gonna talk about this. You know what happened, I know what happened. We're gonna prepare to turn a new page. I'm not going to be the nagging husband. I'm not gonna talk about this again. You just relax. But still she was out of her right self. So I eventually got her to get into a vehicle. We got home and I said to her that I'm not going to be the person to talk about this. We are going to start afresh. Things didn't work out, even though I tried to get her to reconcile. Things didn't work out. But to summarize, the point is that because of a clouded mindset and because of not seeing persons with a soul perspective, we can do foolish things and then regret it after. And I'm very thankful that I met Dr. Simon, and I'm very thankful that I'm in this group here because the same philosophy is being shared here too. The same conversations Dr. Simon would have had with me. And because I was prepared, I was able to respond in a different way. If I wasn't prepared, very few persons, people just hear about people being unfaithful and they hit on their partner. I had the opportunity to see that And I was able to say, hey, I didn't come here for war. I come here for peace. Do you want to reconcile this relationship or not? So the information that is being shared here is very powerful, and it will serve us at the right time. And I am happy to be here, and I want to encourage you guys to continue to have these kind of sessions where we can share.
Thanks for sharing, brother. Thanks for sharing. You had quite an experience, but you were very courageous. And I must say courageous because it takes a lot of courage to walk away. There is something called divine timing, divine intervention. And that person came in at the right time. Because of them, you are here today and we can have this conversation. So let us continue to have a clear mind. And later on in the conversation, I will give some tips as to how we can, not be affected by the illusion and not be so clouded. Yes, things will pop up. But it will just flicker. It will not last as long. You understand? It will not magnify. So there are things that you can do to help to maintain that status. So things like rejection and hurt and other disappointment and so on, it causes distortion. So let us look at the next aspect now. Illusion. We'll just look at one type of illusion of control. Many of us who have children, we want to live our life to our children. So we wanted to be maybe a lawyer, but our dream didn't become a reality. So when we have our children now, we want to live our life through them. They must become a lawyer too. They must become a lawyer because you didn't accomplish that. That is the illusion of control. I must control everything, right? So as subtle as it may be, all those are illusions. We have illusion of happiness outside. We feel that I will be happy when, I will be happy when maybe I get a new vehicle. I will be happy when I get a new home. I'll be happy when I get a raise in salary. And we always have benchmarks as to, we're measuring this happiness. But it doesn't matter the material things that we have. If we do not recognize our soul quality and being soul conscious awareness, it doesn't matter what we have. It will not make us happy. There's another illusion that happiness comes from material things. That is not the case, right? So how can we develop spiritual strength? How can we develop spiritual strength? Can anyone like to share, Sister Kinry? Would you like to give an example as to how we can develop spiritual strength?
The one word that's coming to mind is the word practice. Practice and practice. And when you do something consistently over a period of time, like how an illusion kind of has become a natural or my first response. But when I practice, I pause, look back, change, pause, look back, change, then it helps us to rewire or reset the way we are seeing and responding. Yeah, but it has to be a consistent effort. It will not happen overnight. It will definitely take some time. Yeah.
Yes. So I have that here. Before we react, we should pause and reflect, as you say. And it takes consistency, it takes commitment. It's not a one-off thing. So it's all about practice, as you say. We need to pause. Things want to happen, you think. Because
So, right, like I need to have if that realization doesn't happen, that what I'm doing is getting back maybe the end product of my act. If I'm just okay, I'm okay. If that person is unhappy, then there is no change. I need to change. I mean, that realization has to happen that my responses are not good and it is not leading to a healthy relationship within myself or with the other. Then, sometimes that ego blocks that I am right. So when I'm stepping as a detached observer and I look at myself as a third person, there's a saying from the place I come, the one who criticizes you, keep them close to you, because they will show you what is it in the car you say? The blind spots that you are not able to see. And I can work. Then the realization, first is realization that this is not correct. And then the next step is the courage to make a change. But where there's a will, there will definitely be a way. But the first step of courage we need to take.
yeah. For sharing, Sister Kimberly. So it's all about pause before reacting. Take a deep breath and just see through the illusion. The next spiritual tool I have that I would like to encourage each and every one of you to participate in, if you're not doing so as yet, is meditation. And at the Raja Yoga Center, you come there based on your availability, you know, you can learn to develop that spiritual tool of meditation, because meditation forces you to spend time with you, that inner core, that soul aspect of you. And you have many persons who don't like to be alone. They can't spend time by themselves. They feel out of sorts and all of that. But with meditation, Raja Yoga meditation, once you would have done the 7-day course and all of that, and you learn so much about that aspect of you that you're never taught in any school. No educational institution don't really tell you about the soul. They tell you about the body, they tell you about your eyes, you learn about the parts of the eye, the ear, the intestine, and all of that. But the driver, the soul of this body, you don't hear about that. So meditation gives us the opportunity to connect, not just with our inner soul, but with Supreme Soul, God, the creator of all things, right? So for those of you who are on the call, you could always call the center, talk to Sister Kinnery. We have other persons there, and make that appointment. And you will see transformation, not in a hurry, but over time. You will see that transformation.
With regards to your last comment, I saw a quote about 2 hours ago when I was coming here. It was by Sadhguru, and he says, once you cannot be happy alone, you're in bad company. If you're with yourself and you can't be happy, you're in bad company.
Yes. Yeah, that is so true. That is so true. You have to be happy with yourself, or else you won't be happy with anyone else. You see that?
And meditation will keep you happy. You'll start to love yourself and enjoy. They say, oh, you should love your skin, but it's actually doesn't matter what the color of the skin is or whether it's sagging. You'll start to like yourself, love yourself, and to enjoy being you, the true you, the authentic you. And yes, as Sister Sherry mentioned, all of you are welcome to start your journey of stepping in and stepping up and very confidently stepping out. In, up, and out. So we can each take out the different curtains that we have in front of us, the different veils that we are covering ourselves with, and to see the self in the true light, and also to see situations, not the frog or neither one is wrong, right? But it's the perception. So do you have any concluding thoughts, Sister Sherry, or you want to meditate? I'm not sure.
So I have a short example here that I would like to share before I conclude. So it's about the mind, the intellect, and the sanskar, which might be a little difficult for person, but I'll try to simplify it, right? So everything begins with a thought. It begins in the mind. And once we have, the mind is like a factory. Hundreds of thoughts every minute will be flowing through our mind. But we have control. We have the intellect, that part that could make that discernment, whether right or wrong, right? And based on our decision, based on how we decide, we develop our impressions, our sanskars. So it is thoughts, decision, and what we take from it, what impressions we have. So I just want to give this example. Let us say, for example, you're diabetic. It's your birthday, but somebody give you a huge birthday cake. And you didn't eat cake for a long time. And the person that comes to your mind, oh my God, this is a delicious cake. But then the intellect have the ability to decide, should I eat this cake or not? If I eat this cake, it could put me in trouble health-wise. So based on your decision, if you have that discipline, you say, oh no, I just take a small piece. There it is, you develop that resilience and that sanskar there of resilience. So I would like to close with a short meditation. So I will invite each of us here to sit quietly and just sit comfortably. Let's take a deep breath slowly in. And breathe out slowly. I sit comfortably. I withdraw my attention from the outside world. I remember I am a peaceful soul, a being of light. I am not these roles. I am not these situations. I am not these labels. I connect with the Supreme Soul, a being of pure peace and love. Light still my mind. All confusion dissolved. I see clearly. I feel light. I am free. And complete. Once again, I would like to thank you for joining the conversation. It was a pleasure being here with you.
Thank you, Sister Sherry, for those wise insights. It was really a pleasure to see the causes, to see our perceptions, and how the inside emotions act up. Just wanted to remind all our participants joining us from different parts that next Monday is a Easter Monday, so it's a weekend, holiday weekend. We will not be having an insight session, but we will have an insight session the following Monday. Yeah. So that would be the 13th of April. Yeah. So we will see you all on for an insight session on the 13th of April, but you all are welcome come for an evening meditation, 6:30 to 7:30, any of those days. Yeah. So thank you for joining us in person and also online and sharing your vibrations, thoughts, and energy. Keep meditating, keep flying, and keep making others fly. See clearly and let others see. Om Shanti and good night.
Good night.
Good night.